Have you ever considered that your brain may be ruining your marriage? Like, yeah, you're kind of brain damaged. Like, I never considered that until I sat in on this training by this brilliant neuropsychologist who explained exactly how what happens impacts our actual brain and wires it to keep us in these loops that are completely against our interests. In fact, our brain's kind of dumb. And so if you've ever found yourself engaging in the same dumb argument or having the same dumb response, we're going to blame it on our brain. Yeah. No, seriously, as if, blame is even helpful, which it isn't, we know. But it was such an epiphany to me because I don't know about you, but I get into the same dumb arguments with my husband time after time. And usually it's not even about the same thing, but it seems to have the same looping pattern. I mean, maybe that's just us, but I'll tell you, as the rest of us have all seen, our friends get into it. You've got this heavy in the air, even when you see these looks go back and forth between people. And that's because of I believe Russ described them as mirror neurons. And this is Dr. Russ Irwin. And I'm going to drop a link below to a channel. It's called Novos, where his teachings are going to be posted. And I'm telling you, check that out. It's absolutely phenomenal. But anyway, we mirror those neurons. But all of this comes from a wiring of our RAS. That's our reticular activating system. And basically, that's our part of the brain that gets impacted to record information to tell us how to survive. Okay, this worked, let's do it again. This worked for me, let's do it again. And a lot of these patterns that we play out in marriage actually got implanted with us as little kids. Like when we received, when mom got mad, I got real quiet. That worked to keep me alive. So that sets in motion this fawning type behavior. Or when my brother got mad at me and came at me and I felt intimidated, I jumped up and I fought back with him. And I didn't die. So our brain will tell us, okay, when someone's coming at you, you have to jump up and fight. It's really this fight, flight, fawn, freeze response that gets imprinted over and over and over in our brain. And we bring these, patterns of behavior to marriage. Better yet, we help to ingrain them deeper and deeper and deeper the more we interact in our marriage. So we might have started off, on the honeymoon phase, everything was, Gucci. We were having a good time, and there would have been no reason for us to feel like we might die if we lose an argument with our spouse. But once you get into an argument, and I think I see this as a divorce attorney kind of as a repeated pattern. A woman feels disconnected. She's wanting to be close, so she tends to come at her spouse, who has a tendency when he's feeling criticized to avoid and pull away. And so he retreats because his brain says, retreat from argument, retreat from criticism. That will keep me safe. And she says, I'm being ignored. I'm being abandoned. I have to go after, what I need to keep me safe. And eventually, the man tends to come back if the wife presses enough, and it's on and on and on you go. That's impacting the brain. It's not that we're doing this purposefully, meaning, hey, I think I'll since I'm feeling kind of neglected right now, I'm going to start some stuff, and escalate, because eventually if I escalate enough, he'll pay attention and come toward me. Or we'll have this giant fight, which will lead to an apology and a nice dinner together, which, it's a low key cycle of abuse that our brain has us engaged in. And I'm telling you, when I found this out, because, the other night I'm sitting on the porch with Ryan, and I know before all you men talk about what a horror of a wife I am and how my husband's a saint, you're right. Okay. So I'll say it for you. Save the comments. I'm just telling you, that poor man has had to be married to me for 30 years. He, just like you, I'm sure, is a dream date Ken, but that's the world that we live in. Anyway, we're out on the porch, and we live in Nashville. So we have neighbors that are recording artists, and they're out there, playing some music on a steel little guitar, and we're just like enjoying the sunset, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we're having a nice time, and we're talking about logistics for the next day. And next thing you know, my husband's kind of coming at me, pretty low key coming at me about, not forgetting to do something we had to do the next day. And, my brain was like, well, who do you think I am? Am I the kind of person that forgets things? I'm absolutely not the kind of person that forgets things. And so I pushed back him like, why are you reminding me about that? And he got defensive, and on it went. I mean, it was just our little cycle. And the next thing you know, literally within 3 minutes, we're screaming at each other. And we're both feeling like, how did we get here? And why do we keep going here? Like literally, I felt like so defeated because my husband's the last person on the planet that I want to scream at. Also, I don't scream at anybody else. My husband's actually a really freaking nice guy. And, he's super helpful, really kind. I think maybe in his heart, he was at the moment trying to help me to remember, but I was telling him all about my calendar. It's not like I was going to forget. And ultimately, we figured out on the other side that he was worried that I was going to forget. And he was kind of criticizing me because I left that one item off of the calendar items that I had said. And so when we got underneath it, there was some truth to the allegations, but guess what? That never solves the problem. In the immediate moment, he's defending, he didn't do anything wrong. I have no right to feel criticized. He has no right to, be telling me what needs to be on my calendar or reminding me. Like a rational person would have been like, hey, don't forget XYZ. Got bothered with the undercurrent of maybe criticism or what have you and drove on. But I told you, my brain is damaged. My brain is dumb, and my brain takes that as a death threat, like a literal death threat. Now, at the time we had that conversation, I didn't know that. But lucky for me, that was a Thursday night before I went to a Friday all-day seminar with Dr. Russ. And at that seminar, which was on intimidation, actually, and Dr. Russ described that when you're feeling intimidated, your RAS figures out a way to survive. So anytime that you're feeling intimidated, or anytime that you're feeling criticized, or anytime that you're feeling disconnection, your RAS is going to have figured out the pattern, the thing to do to make sure you don't die. And mine happens to be to launch into questioning. My husband's happens to be to launch into defending. I have to understand. He has to deflect. And that's why we keep going in circles. The reason why this was such a breakthrough, at least for me, is I finally understood, like, no matter how many times I purpose, like I had said to myself, okay, next time something like this comes up, I'm just going to act like a normal person. Like I do it at work all the time. Like I don't yell at someone who gives me a reminder at the office. What kind of psycho would do that? Does it even make any sense? And why do I keep doing it at home? It's the worst. But there again, guys, who we are at home is who we are. Like we may want to try and act like, I'm somebody else, but we know when we show up that way, that really informs us about who we are. And actually we can experience shame when we do things like that with just our spouse or with just our kids and don't do it out here. But these are unique relationships. Once I learned that it was my brain that was telling me I'm in flight or fight mode, then I realized the biblical mandate to take a beat. So one of the things the Bible says is submit yourselves to your husband so that without a word, he will be won over. So what I did is in that moment, once I realized, I'm like, wait, wow, okay. So this is my flesh. This is my body that's telling me to do something. So I'm going to take that thought captive. I'm going to die is not true. And not say a word, and instead let that pass. And that became like this, transformative tool, because now it makes sense why the Bible says to do that. Like, why would we stop? Why would we submit ourselves one to another? So this idea, and we talked about this before, this idea of submission is to basically give it a beat. It is go ahead and make yourself positionally lesser. Somebody's got to go first. It's like no different than like, we both come up to the door to go into a restaurant. Okay. You can submit by opening the door and let the other person go through first. That's all it is. It's basically being polite. It's for you to pause. It's for you to wait. And when we do that, when we're triggered, because that's kind of what it is. It's a type of trigger. When our brain is triggered into action, it's triggered into a defense mode, into a retreat mode, into whatever kind of mode your brain happens to take you down into, and you give it that pause and you take your thought captive and you remind your brain, I'm not going to die. Like if this guy reminds me and I don't get up into his stuff about how I don't need reminders, I'm not going to die. And in fact, I'm going to be better off. And I can thank my brain for, trying to keep me safe. And here's what Russ said. That was the most awesome part. That's what ends the hopeless cycle. That's what ends the looping. It's the pause, the reframe. And the more you do that, the more you create a new pathway. So I hope this was like as exciting a breakthrough for you as it was for me. Even if it wasn't, it's so fantastic. I feel like when we find out these little nuggets about how our brains work and, the true path to freedom, I hope you did like it. And if you did, feel free to share this with somebody, or maybe you should just share it with somebody who it might help. Even if it didn't help you, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.